I just have to say this because we're going to have the statement from some people's that, wow, you guys are really too technical. And I just want to take 20 seconds and make the statement. Some of the things that we're going to speak about will sound similar, meaning that what they describe and what other blockchains describe sounds similar. You will have people who will mention side chains, and it to you may seem the same when you say side chains or another chain says it. It's no different than when we say staking or proof of stake, and you think it's all the same. You don't quite understand that there are technological differences. Please always ask questions, because even as I read the white papers, some of the terms are identical to what we would use, but the meaning that they use them, or the definition as they would describe what the meaning to that word would be, that was a whole lot of word salad, is entirely different. And it gets confusing. So if you get confused, please just know that I'm confused 99% of the time. I have to reread these things 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 times before I get it. If you listen to this and it sounds like it's just mumbo jumbo, ask me. I will happily chat with you, because it is confusing.
And that's why we do that, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
we get often the question like, hey, why are you different? And the
Yes.
reality is, in this industry, I won't say people lie, but marketing is definitely not the reality, right? And people will use staking, people will use trustless, people will use sidechain. And unless
Yes.
you go and look into the detail, which are technical, then you will not be able to differentiate those. So that's why we're trying
Correct.
to highlight the architectural choices of our competitors and
Correct.
why we chose our direction with the partner, and why we think our vision is much more adapted to a scalable system and fully decentralized and trustless system.
Yeah,
Correct.
I have
Correct.
3 quick examples. You just mentioned 2, but just to go over them. So we'll say staking, and it will mean validating a blockchain and getting rewards for that based on how much of the coin that you have, as opposed to a proof of work protocol where it's based on how much of a machine you have.
That's right.
Whereas in DeFi, they still call it staking, and it's the
Correct.
same word. It's based on how much you have. You are definitely kind of supporting like a liquidity pool or whatever, and they call it staking because the more you have, the more you get, right? And it's so from that perspective, it's not different. But the reality is, staking a blockchain is different than DeFi staking, even though that's the same word. Another one is trustless, right? So we are very clear, the three of us are very clear that trustless means no intermediaries, period.
Correct.
That's right.
Where
No decentralized Oracle, no multi-sig anywhere like
yeah,
it is. And unfortunately, this is
and
most
we're in the
trustless
process.
things today are
Yeah,
not
we're in the
trustless.
process of losing the definition of that word because you see it all over the place in terms of bridges, saying it's a trustless bridge when in
Correct.
fact the reality is there's a point of trust that you have to assume. And it's not like you have to trust the BIOS of the machines. We're not talking about that. We're talking about in the chain of actions that happen as assets move from one place to another. You have to assume somebody doesn't have keys to something. And so the real term for that they used to use was trust minimized.
Yeah.
I say it often. Trust minimized is a lot like saying a little bit pregnant. It's not. It's still trusted. Period.
Yeah.
And trustless means no intermediary, and that's the way we use it, and that's the way it was used before. It's not like we're not using a new version of it. Sending funds from one Bitcoin to address to another Bitcoin address, that's trustless, no intermediary.
Yeah, and trustless means even much more than, it's much simpler even than that. Trustless means that if I send it to you, you didn't have to trust me to send it to you, but you can also trust that I sent it
Yeah.
because I signed it and I sent the coins from that address. I mean, there's so many different layers of what trustless should be. And you wrap that into self-custody, right? Which is what DEXs cannot. DEXs do not offer self-custody. You know, so
That's right.
trustless is, it's a huge concept.
And
it's
the
a
other
crazy
aspect,
word.
and the other aspect is
was,
centralization,
Go ahead.
decentralization, right? Because then if you have 16 validators, it's not decentralized.
Right.
If you can't be a validator, it's not decentralized. If you have another level of validators that are called operator or whatever name you want to give them, and then it is a list of 20 or something like that, it's not decentralized, right? So these are technical details that you really have to dig into the detail of the architecture, because obviously those people will not tell you that, right?
Yep. Yeah, they'll tell you the opposite. So I don't think it's the. I think I mean, from our perspective, with these very clear definitions, yes, those projects are outright lying. They're not lying enough, and also we generally don't use the court system for that kind of things. Like Coke will use it if you say, you know, we're Coke, you know, or something like that.
Right.
But you know, in general, our industry doesn't use court systems to fix stuff. We just go ahead and generally build things. So people will say whatever, and it's up to you and us to poke down. Do you mean decentralized? Do you mean trustless? And so yeah, we do get into those words. Yes, it can get boring. It's for your protection. It's for you to understand, like, if people mean what they say for real, and how you can poke at it from a point of view where this entire industry started from. So that's why we do it, and I think it's important. And if it's boring, well, I mean, you know, there's a fast forward button.
No, I mean, if you have chapters, it's okay, right? I gave that quote about Zig Ziglar. I mean, if you don't want to learn, you're not going to learn. I'm paraphrasing it, but you also limit yourself. I don't know how to build excitement or encouragement, except there needs to be some level of curiosity. If you're going to put your money into something or you're going to put time into something, I guess you should be curious too. And that's me being, I think I'm being a little too critical maybe on that, but still, it's, how do you discern those differences? Trustless. How do you discern those differences? Decentralized. How do you discern those differences? Self-custody. How do you discern those differences? Open participation as a validator or a miner. How do you discern those differences? What makes a blockchain more centralized or less centralized, right? So to decentralization. What does those things? If you can't answer those, you should start reading. And I think, Rob, you shared some very easy learning in the Telegram channel with that mastering blockchain or mastering Bitcoin. What was that?
Three resources. One was mastering Bitcoin. There's also a mastering Ethereum book. But Khan Academy for free has a blockchain course. Brilliant.com has a blockchain course. I went through it. Actually, I'm still going through it just to see what's in there. And it kind of takes you through from a very kind of traditional trust-based economy, and then improves one little bit at each step, so that it transforms into how blockchain works, you know, as a monetary system, through all the parts. So you learn what hashing is, and why you need it. You learn what keys are, and you know why they work. And so, but it does it step by step by step. And I think for most people, it's really good. Transforming a monetary system from what you're used to what a blockchain monetary system and how it works. So there's a number of really good resources. A book costs like $30, I think. And
but free. I want to push as much free resources as possible.
Yeah.
You're already buying coins. Sure, $30 isn't a lot of money, but it could be. There are tons of free resources you can use. Tons, if you just ask. That's it.